Okay, this is about the cosine ratio, which is the last of the three ratios that have to do with triangles. Okay, what did we learn? Right angle triangles have special ratios. We learned about the tangent ratio. What does that mean? It means if we have a triangle and it's right angled. Now, depending on this angle, for any given angle, this ratio between this opposite and this adjacent will be the same. The ratio, no matter what the size of the triangle, right? No matter what the size of the triangle, if that's the size, this adjacent, ADJ for adjacent, opposite over adjacent will have the same kind of ratio. We learned about the sine ratio, and that's the relationship between the opposite side and the hypotenuse. For a given angle, the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse, that ratio is called the sine ratio. And they're the same no matter what size. I know the sizes might change, but the relationship of the rate at which they increase are the same for the given angle. Okay, another ratio, finally, that we're learning about today is called the cosine ratio. Now, the cosine ratio has to do with the relationship between adjacent and hypotenuse. And it's adjacent over hypotenuse. ADJ over hypotenuse. And it just says for any given angle, the relationship between the adjacent side and the hypotenuse will be the same for any given angle. What does that mean? If the angle is 30, no matter the size, if this is 30 degrees, we'll have a specific ratio between whatever this adjacent is and hypotenuse. And that ratio is called the cosine ratio. If the angle is 60 degrees, there's going to be a special relationship between adjacent and hypotenuse, right? And that relationship is called the cosine ratio. Okay, so let's continue on. How do we use this? Using the cosine law, determine the length of side A. Well, we have the adjacent side. This is adjacent to this angle. So we can use cosine of theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. We have theta. We have hypotenuse. Do we have adjacent? No, but we want it. So cos of 35. What's that cos of 35? Okay, so cos of 35 times equals A times 1. How do we solve for A? Well, 14.5 times cos of 35. 14.5 times cos of 35. 11.87 or 11.88. And that's our answer. Simple as that. Let's try this. Determine angle A. Well, I have adjacent. I have hypotenuse. So I can use cosine. So let's look at this. Cos of my angle equals adjacent, which is 12, over hypotenuse, which is 15. 12 over 15. So take the inverse cos of 12 over 15 to find the angle. So let's try that. Let's clear cos, inverse cos, 12 divided by 15. Well, the answer is 37 degrees, approximately. 36.9. And that's my answer. That's exactly what A is. And there's homework assigned.